Hello and welcome to the Service-Based Business Society podcast. I am your host, Tiffany-Ann. On our weekly episodes, we will dig into everything you need to know about scaling your service-based business without losing sleep. With my experience in creating over 7 figures per month and a passion for marketing, finance, and automation, this show will provide tangible tips and techniques for scaling your business. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Service-Based Business Society podcast. I am your host, Tiffany-Ann. And tonight we are going to be talking about an important topic that is so near and dear to my heart. And realistically, it affects every business owner, service-based, product-based. Realistically, if you are going to go out as an entrepreneur, you are going to be faced with this challenge. And it really comes down to self-confidence. And before you think, oh boy, we're going all woo-woo, and we are going a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about embracing who you are and really deciding what you're not. And I know this sounds really fairly counterintuitive, because as business owners, we're a lot of things. We are part firefighter, part janitor, part CEO, part HR, marketing director, all of these different pieces. And as your business grows, it all comes back to initially, because here's the thing, most people do not start a business with a whole bunch of budget. You start your business with this vision, this idea, and you think, okay, I'm going to dive in. And so either you're going to be working full-time on your business, or potentially you are working part-time on your business and juggling life, maybe another job, maybe another business. I often talk to entrepreneurs who have multiple businesses on the go. And so at one point in this process, you're all the things. And so you're putting a lot of trust in yourself. And so I was on a call today where a business owner who has been working really hard for almost a year, getting things really ready for the launch of her business. And so lots going on in the background. And now it's time to jump. It's time to take that leap of faith and realistically trust yourself and enjoy the moment of all of the work coming together. And so we were talking through some logistical pieces, and we were solving some challenges, and how this new exciting opportunity was going to come to fruition and how this was going to be great and all of these things. And towards the end of the conversation, I heard her say, well, I'm going to have to decide if I'm going to take the opportunity. And I immediately kind of thought, well, why wouldn't you take the opportunity? And I really appreciate the honesty. And she said, it's really just me. It's really just me that would prevent, because I said, what would prevent you from taking this opportunity? What challenge do we need to sort out? And she said, it was just me. It's just me. So there's two pieces. My mind immediately goes to, okay, well, you're really not going to be any more confident a month later. So sure, this opportunity had come up, and this is common when you're getting started on your business, where you're not quite ready. You're almost ready, but you're not quite ready. And so I hear a lot of this online. People say done is better than perfect, imperfect action. And I, as a person who originally really side-eyed this comment, done is better than perfect, but I do think there is some truth to it. We are never going to be completely ready. Never. Because we cannot actually predict every single outcome. and we cannot solve all problems that we don't know. And a lot of times we can build something, whether it's a system or a process or, launching something new or whatever. And it's not until we actually stress test or, put something under load, under pressure, that we truly get the full picture. So, we can practice, we can do trials, we can do all these things, but we still end up with things we didn't predict, or something doesn't go quite right, or something that worked 500 times previously all of a sudden doesn't work. I was recently on a demo call for some software, and the person who was on the call was clicking this button. She's trying to demo this product for me. And I know this is a very well-known product, widely used. And now she's on the call and she's clicking on this button and nothing is happening. And I can see that she's getting stressed. She's like, oh my goodness, it works every other time. And you can tell initially she's trying to just make it work. And then she's like, I'm not really sure why it's not working. And I said, it's fine. Let's focus on, what's supposed to happen. Let's talk about this and go through it, because there's a piece of that, that there's something going wrong. And in that moment, you can see the stress, you can see the confidence. She was completely thrown off what she was doing. And so it took a few minutes to kind of get things back on track, and we carried on. But, when things go wrong, it immediately shakes the confidence. So if I go back to the, initial discussion I was having with my client, and we were talking about, this opportunity coming up, and she was very open and honest about, being nervous, and the decision is, hey, let's jump, let's make this happen. And so, I was thinking about it after, and so I wanted to chat about it here on the episode, because I thought, why in some instances would I say jump, and why in other instances would I say hold? Because opportunities come up all the time. Some opportunities are better than others. How can that be decided upon? And I really kept coming back to the piece of determining the root cause, or the real reason for the apprehension. And if I really think about it in this instance, the apprehension really came down to, I don't want to say insecurity, but really just the unknown, being a little nervous to take that first step, and things not being quite finished. And then I think, okay, fast forward 30 days. Would anything be different? And I would say no. Because no matter what, you're still never going to have it's never going to be perfect. And I would say, to say this comment that I hate, done is better than perfect. It still comes back to, what are the possible opportunities or possible gains from saying yes? What are the possible downsides to saying yes? And really evaluating them at the core. So in this instance, sure, we're not 100% ready, but we're ready. Is it say a product wasn't ready? And when I say product, that could be, a digital product, a digital service. If something is not ready to accept payment, then I would say hold in most situations. But if you are ready to accept payment, it's time to jump. And so realistically, it comes to one of the first pieces as you're building your business, or launching a new service, or going into a new area, any kind of growth. The focus realistically needs to be to turning the lights on, meaning the focus needs to be on what are the steps that are going to get me and my business to ready. And by ready, we mean accepting payment. Because, fiddling with the background on a website, or a little change of this, or, printing a business card, or getting a t-shirt done, or, changing the ending of a video, all of these pieces, they are about fine-tuning. Your business can exist realistically without almost everything. There is a very successful coach on the online space. And it wasn't until we really, we were working on something else, and we were chatting about business, and, she was talking about when she started, she just used, she had a PayPal link to accept payment. She didn't have a website. She didn't have anything else. She would connect with people, and she would send them this PayPal request link. People would pay her, and she would use like a virtual classroom webinar type situation, and she would teach class. And now, we were kind of talking about how far business has come, and how, there's so much progression, but at the same time, there's also so much complexity. She had the ability to deliver the service, and she had the ability to collect payment. And so she was ready to turn the lights on. She was ready to say, I'm in business. And so when we're laying out these plans and dates and timelines and tasks, the question really needs to be, number one, what is the apprehension? Because if you have no way to collect payment, or you have no way to actually deliver the service right now, you just have an idea, then perhaps jumping into the selling might be premature. Not in all situations, and so I'll come back to that. But if you have the ability to deliver and accept payment, and what's standing in your way is you, it's your nerves, it's your, I want this to be more done, I want this to be better, all of these pieces, it's time to jump. And so to come back to say, things don't always have to be completed entirely before you sell them. What happens? Now let's walk through this example here. You come up with an idea, you figure out how you're going to create the idea, you go through weeks of development, you create the web page, you create all of these pieces, you create some, launching social media graphic, whatever your marketing looks like. And you launch, at this point, maybe you're, 80 hours into this product, you have, everything front to back. And when I say product in a service-based business, that could be a service, but your product is what you're bringing to the market to sell. And crickets. You launch and nothing happens. This is a problem, because now you're however many hours into building this out, and it falls flat. You do not have what they call product market fit. At this point, you have a couple choices. Number one, of course, we can fine tune, but number two, we can also say, scrap it. Number three, you could review and kind of take bits and pieces. The problem is it's sometimes a lot easier to massage your offer if you're not so far down the path of one direction. So if you have this idea and you're not sure that this is going to, be your next top seller, it's really good to either, if you could take it to your current audience, you could, speak to a few others, But at the same point, you want to bring it together enough that you can discuss it, but not so much that you have invested hours and hours and hours into developing something that you don't know if anybody wants. It really is important to know that your service product solves a challenge of your ideal audience. And so often we need to know enough to get that sample. Maybe, in a service, you could put together a beta program. This is very common in the tech space. People will launch a beta. And so sometimes that's slightly discounted because you're going to be a part of the launch. And often, people might really like or enjoy one part of something that you didn't anticipate would be so popular. And maybe you end up going a little further on a specific feature or service. When you are not overly committed to one thing, when you still have that flexibility, you are not worried about, well, we've all been in the spot where you think, at this point, I'm 80 hours into a project and I don't want to give up because I'm 80 hours into the project. That could be a waste of time. But on the other hand, you're like, I'm 80 hours into the project and it's not going anywhere. When do you decide, hey, I need to pull the shoe. I need to get out of this. It is so much easier to have that decision and discussion with yourself if you're only 10 hours into the project, 15 hours into the project. So I want you to truly think, as you're launching these new services or offers or whatnot, that you want to know that somebody wants that product or service before you invest a significant amount of time into building it. So what are other ways that we could do something similar? What are other ways we can find product market fit? Because realistically, your whole business needs to have product market fit. You have to know that people want what you are offering. And so doing some research in terms of, are there other businesses that are offering what you're offering? What kind of keywords are people searching for? Do people know that they need what you have? And so if we go back to, accepting these opportunities and knowing when to jump and when to hold, it really becomes a part of a bigger strategy right from the beginning, and establishing that you have the product or service that people want, and then deciding what are the steps that are going to get you from here to ready to deliver and ready to accept payment. Some things can come after that. Because realistically, if you get to you're ready to deliver and accept payment and nothing happens, well, then you didn't need the next 15 steps that come after that. One of the pieces of developing this strategy truly comes down to, what is the minimum requirement for you to move forward, and establishing that, because that makes it so much easier for you to then decide, hey, am I standing in my own way? Am I preventing this from moving ahead? Because as entrepreneurs who, we talked about how everybody does so many different things, we all, myself included, default to what we feel the strongest in. When you have so many different tasks, so many different pieces, all of these different responsibilities, you're going to go all in. You're going to lean into the ones that you know and you feel comfortable doing. So for myself, I could do, tech, operations, process systems, all of these pieces for weeks to avoid selling. Selling is not my strongest suit. I, prior to my entrepreneurship journey, I didn't do any sales. And I think I actually did a little bit of sales if I think back, but I wasn't in any formal sales role. And it was really something that I avoided. Now, when you work for yourself and you're an entrepreneur, and we talked about, at the beginning, everything is realistically on you. And so, well, now we have to learn how to sell. But to this day, I will avoid doing those things and lean into other things that I feel more comfortable doing. And I have to remind myself, hey, wait a minute. In order to get this new service, new offer to market, I don't need to do all of these other pieces, because realistically, how efficient something is done from, point A to point B is really only relevant if somebody buys it. If it doesn't get purchased, then there's nothing going from A to B, and then the efficiency ultimately doesn't really matter. And so having that clear understanding of the sequence of things that need to occur and which must happen before you press the go button really aids in understanding, when are you almost avoiding or, shying away from opportunity or whatnot. When is that being driven by lack of confidence or desire to stay in your comfort zone, or any of these pieces, just doing what you feel comfortable in. The fact of the matter is, being an entrepreneur is uncomfortable, but it should be uncomfortable like when you're at the gym and you're working out and it's like the good pain. This is like, it should be the good uncomfortable in entrepreneurship. Because when it's the bad pain or the bad uncomfortable, that's when, at the gym, this is when injuries occur. When you're pushing too hard, when you're not warming up properly, all of these pieces. In entrepreneurship, that is, the not good uncomfortable comes from being ill-prepared, pressing the go button before we have the ability to accept payment. Or what's worse is pressing the go button before we actually have the ability to deliver the service. Those pieces must be established, because on the flip side, is every business owner's worst nightmare, the overpromise, underdeliver. And so we want to be sure that we can deliver and that we can accept payment. And anything that comes after that, we need to truly decide, should it prevent moving ahead and making money? Your business will be so much stronger the sooner you can start accepting payment. So don't delay. Don't put off opportunity because you don't want to be uncomfortable. Lean into that pain. It's so much like going to the gym and having that good pain. It's the same as being an entrepreneur, leaning into being uncomfortable. And if I think back to, a number of different episodes that we've had and some others that I've recorded that will launch very soon, there has been so many people, experts in a variety of different topics, all that really come to that we must lean in. We must proceed, even when we want to pull back. And that really is part of being an entrepreneur. I will laugh and joke and say, I have not seen my comfort zone since the day I left my previous job and started on this path of entrepreneurship. And it is truly a rewarding, beautiful journey, but not without challenges, and definitely not without discomfort. So I encourage you to lean into being uncomfortable, recognize when your discomfort is preventing forward momentum. Really look at, if you're saying no to an opportunity, or you're holding back, you're not pushing forward, what is the root cause of this? Why are you shying away? Because if it's a fear of not being able to deliver, is that fear founded? Is that really just insecurity? And being able to decipher between some of these pieces will truly help you move forward. It will help you know what is good discomfort and what is just discomfort, and when you should be listening to your intuition, and when your intuition is possibly having a moment of imposter syndrome. When you can work through these challenges, you can continue to push and progress and continue to grow, both professionally as an entrepreneur and in your business, but also personally. Because when you are a stronger person overall, when you are making decisions that come from the right place and not from insecurity rearing its ugly head, we as people can rise to the occasion and do amazing things in our business. So I want to thank you for listening to the episode today. And if you have any comments or questions, please be sure to join us in the Facebook community. And that's all for this week. Well, we are all out of time for today. If you guys have not joined the Service-Based Business Society Facebook community, make sure you head on over to Facebook and we can continue the conversation. Be sure to also follow the show by going to any podcast app and searching Service-Based Business Society. Click subscribe, click the 5th star, and leave us a written review. Have a great week, and we will see you soon.